Hello, grade 10th. I hope all of you doing fine. So, last day we had talked about nutrition in both plants and animals. So, today we will be studying about another physiological process called respiration. Now, as I've already told you in the first day, respiration doesn't only mean taking in of air and giving out of air, it also means the breaking down of food. So, the breaking down of food basically takes place in the presence of oxygen mostly. So, the oxidation of food to release energy is known as respiration. And this energy is released in a currency, and the energy currency is known as ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Now, like you say, 10 rupees, 15 rupees for any particular thing that you buy. So, similarly, 1 ATP, 2 ATP, 38 ATP, 40 ATP. So, this is the amount of energy that is being released. So, how is this done? Now, basically, the food that goes inside your body is specially glucose, because glucose is the substrate of respiration. It is the base on which the oxygen will act. So, I have already told you in the last part that carbohydrate will break down into glucose. Now, this glucose, in the presence of oxygen, breaks down into carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Now, any hydrocarbon will break down into carbon dioxide and water, and glucose being an organic substance, it is also a hydrocarbon. So, it will break down into carbon dioxide, water, and energy. So basically, this whole process takes place inside the cell, and hence this type of respiration is known as cellular respiration. Now, there are two types of respiration. We will discuss it, but you have to know that respiration is a very, very important process, and the significance of respiration is that all the energy that we are provided to do all the life processes is obviously because of respiration, and organisms live because of this energy that is produced by respiration. Now we come to a very important difference between respiration and breathing. Now, respiration is a wholesome concept. It involves your taking in of air, then this air, that is oxygen, that is going inside your cells, and who is carrying it? The blood is carrying it, and finally, it is reaching the tissues and the cells. Over there, it is meeting the food in the form of glucose, then breaking down, and then finally carbon dioxide and water is released. Now this carbon dioxide is again coming back where? Through the respiratory system to the from the lungs to the nose, and it's being thrown out by the nostrils. So we will be studying the whole process in respiration in animals, but for now you need to know that respiration is a total wholesome process in which air is taken in, then goes inside the cell. So there are basically two processes in respiration: cellular respiration and external respiration. Cellular respiration I've already discussed, and external respiration involves this breathing in and breathing out. Now, what is breathing? Breathing is just the external respiration. That means it's just the physical activity that we are doing. We are taking in air and we are throwing out air. That's just breathing. So, respiration is a wholesome process, and breathing is just a part of the respiration. So, basically, respiration is a physical process, I've told you, and respiration, I mean, breathing is a physical process, and respiration is basically a biochemical process wherein the food is being broken down, giving rise to energy. And next we come to how energy is released. I've already told you energy is released in the form of ATP. Now this ATP, adenosine triphosphate, so 3 phosphate molecules is that we have. So this is basically made by a process called photophosphorylation that takes place in plants. Photophosphorylation means photo means light, phosphorylate means addition of an inorganic phosphate is known as photophosphorylation. Now basically what happens here is any molecule, any energy molecule is basically in the form of ADP, adenosine diphosphate. Now this ADP combines with one inorganic phosphate to give rise to ATP, adenosine triphosphate, that is the source and the currency of the energy that is produced by my body. Now basically, as I was saying, that this energy ATP is stored form. So it can be stored, ATP can be stored. So when the cell needs energy, this ATP is further broken down to what? Obviously it was made from ADP. ADP ke saath it was phosphate which was added. So when this ATP will break down, it will break down into ADP and inorganic phosphate, releasing energy. So basically they are telling you for every ATP molecule that is broken down, 30.5 kilojoule per mole. You know what's mole, I believe? So 30.5 kilojoule per mole is released in this whole process. Okay. Now we come to a very, very important part, that is types of respiration. So let me discuss with you the types of respiration in organisms. So for further, clarification, I will be referring to the notes. As you're already aware that there are two types of respiration. One is called the aerobic respiration. The other is called the anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration will mean respiration or the breakdown that occurs in the presence of oxygen, whereas an means away. So in the absence of oxygen, the respiration that takes place is known as anaerobic respiration. Now we come to the aerobic respiration. As aerobic respiration here, it is the complete breakdown of the glucose molecule because a lot of oxygen is available. So this will give rise to carbon dioxide and water. As you can see that in the side, basically this glucose breakdown will take place in two steps. First step is known as glycolysis. The second step is known as the Krebs cycle. Now in this glycolysis can take place without the help of oxygen. So it is a oxygen independent step which will take place in the cytoplasm. So both aerobic and anaerobic respiration will have this step in common. Okay. Now let's talk about this glucose being broken down into pyruvate in the glycolysis step, and that is taking place in the cytoplasm. Next, this glucose has been broken down into pyruvate because this glucose to carbon dioxide water transformation is not a single step. It is a multiple step, as you can see. So the first step takes place in cytoplasm, wherein the glucose is broken down into pyruvate. Now from here comes the major twist. Now pyruvate, you can see, if there is oxygen, will undergo Krebs cycle in the mitochondria, because it is in this mitochondria that oxygen will be available, and mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. Basically, why? Because it releases energy in the form of ATP. We've already studied in the last class. So basically, this pyruvate in the presence of oxygen will be converted into carbon dioxide, water, and 38 ATP will be released. Very, very important. 38 ATP will be released in aerobic respiration. Let's go to anaerobic respiration now. Now anaerobic respiration will also have that step of glycolysis, as I was talking, that this step is common in anaerobic respiration also. What changes is from the pyruvate. Now what happens in certain organisms like yeast and bacteria, so oxygen is not always available, and the glucose is broken down in these organisms Be it in plants, be it in yeast, fungi, be it in animals, it is broken down in the absence of oxygen, and it is known as anaerobic respiration. Especially in case of yeast and some bacteria, it is called fermentation, and it is by this fermentation process that grapes are used to make wine. I hope you remember that we had discussed this. Now coming back, as I was telling you that here this step is common, and in pyruvate, in the absence of oxygen, in case of fermentation, it will give rise to alcohol, ethanol, C2H5OH, carbon dioxide, and you can see there are 2 ATPs that are released. You see there are 38 ATPs over here, and in case of animals, you see that this glucose is again breaking down into pyruvate, and in the absence of oxygen, lactic acid is being produced and 2 ATP is being produced. Now you have to be very, very careful when you are writing this, because in case of fermentation, it is 38 ATPs, and in case of lactic acid formation, it is 2 ATP. So anaerobic respiration basically gives very less amount of ATP. Why? Because it is incomplete oxidation that is taking place. Why? Because oxygen is not available over here. So obviously it is very evident that yes, incomplete oxidation will take place. So here you see only 2 ATP is being released. Now you must have experienced something while you're running. So many of you are athletes, you love running, right? So when you run for a long period of time, all of a sudden once you go back home at night, your muscle pick up cramps. Even for dancers it's the same thing. Even for people who are doing any kind of physical strenuous activities, experience the same. Basically what happens, your muscles in the legs or in the hands, they are exercising too much, and in that short period of time oxygen is not available in greater amount. So what happens is basically this oxygen is not reaching the cells. Why? Because the physical exercise is happening very fast. So what happens is in the absence of oxygen, glucose is already breaking down into lactic acid. I've already told you in respiration, in case of plants it is ethanol that is formed, and in case of animals it is lactic acid that is formed. So this lactic acid deposition in your muscles causes your muscle sprains. Now we will shift back to the notes to see respiration, how it happens in plants. Obviously, like animals, plants also need energy to do their different physiological activities, and respiration is one of their primary physiological activities that they do. The respiration in plants differ from animals, and we will be discussing that later. But let's talk about how plants get in this oxygen that is required by them for respiration. So this oxygen that plants take in is by diffusion. Now basically you're aware that plants have a branching shape, and this branching shape affiliates them with a large surface area in comparison to their volume. So obviously when there is a large surface area, the more the area, the larger the surface area, more will the diffusion takes place. So diffusion can take place through 3 routes in plants. Firstly the roots, the secondly the stems, and third one is the leaves. Now let's talk about respiration in roots. Now roots, there are small spaces in between, and there are root hairs that are there, and these spaces are directly in contact with the root hairs. So oxygen will slowly diffuse in through the root hair until it reaches the cells inside, and from there it will enter the plant body, and carbon dioxide is produced by root cell and diffuses out. So oxygen diffuses in and carbon dioxide diffuses out. So basically in the waterlogged condition, what happens, especially you must have heard about this, that clay soil cannot grow better crops. Loamy soil does. Clay soil has a whole lot of water retention capacity, as a result of which waterlogging takes place. And what happens in waterlogging is the soil spaces, the air spaces that are there, that becomes deficient, and in absence of oxygen, the metabolic activity of the root declines and the plant starts withering. The next route of respiration is through the stems. Now, in the stems, the oxygen from air diffuses into the stems through stomata. There are small stomata openings in the stem as well. Also, there are certain places in certain openings in the older cells called lenticels, 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 which helps in also the diffusion of air. The carbon dioxide produced through respiration diffuses out through the stomata. And of course, I was talking about lenticels, which are there in woody stems, not in herbaceous stems. Herbaceous stems have stomata and woody stems have lenticels for the gaseous diffusion to take place. And of course, you are aware that in leaves there are tiny pores called stomata as well, through which diffusion of gases can take place. So what is the net gaseous exchange in the leaves of the plant? So during the day when photosynthesis occurs, oxygen is produced. So the leaves use some of this oxygen for respiration, and the rest of the oxygen they diffuse out in the air, of course. And again, during the daytime, what happens? Carbon dioxide produced by respiration is used up by the photosynthesis, and even more carbon dioxide is taken in from the air. So you see what is the net gaseous exchange during the day. Oxygen will move out, the byproduct of photosynthesis. Oxygen diffuses out and carbon dioxide diffuses in, that is during the daytime. And in the night time, what happens? When no photosynthesis occurs, no oxygen is produced. So there is no question that oxygen from the air will diffuse into the leaves. So obviously oxygen will slowly get into the leaves and respiration will take place, and carbon dioxide produced by respiration will diffuse out. So in the night, the net exchange in the leaves is oxygen will diffuse in and carbon dioxide will diffuse out. So I hope it was quite easy to understand that how respiration takes place, what is aerobic respiration, what is anaerobic respiration, what is glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and how respiration takes place in plants. Next day we will be doing respiration in animals. Till then, you will please note down the given notes in your biology copy. Thank you so much and stay safe.